Welcome back. This is Echoes of Impact with Noura, and this is your host, Noura Masri. We are back with my friend Josie, and we're going to be talking about tax professionals. So, usually, guys, you think IRS and the tax law just behind the taxpayer. And I know you guys give us a lot of hard time actually requesting documents. I never have to. No one never asked me about this document. Why do you need this? I don't feel comfortable sharing this. Guys, like we need to do your taxes and we need to protect yourself. And Josie is here today to actually talk about this and tell you exactly why are we requesting this information. So Josie, can you help us with this?
Yes, I can. Definitely. Tax professionals are my niche. So I represent a lot of tax professionals and in due diligence audits and criminal investigations. If they don't prepare your returns correctly, they can actually go to jail. They can go to jail. So that's why when they're on you about your documents, it's because they can get in trouble with the IRS and with the state if they don't prepare your documents properly. So that is one of the things that I do. I actually represent. That is my niche. Is tax professionals who are in a criminal investigation. They may have a issue with the IRS. There are things like that. They can't prepare returns anymore. Those are the people that I represent, and most of the times because they end up letting you guys slide. So don't let your tax professional go to jail because you want to slide.
Yes. See, no, we didn't bring anything from our end. Here's the tax lawyer, and she's telling you that. So technically, if we are, let's talk about personal first, and then we can move to a business.
Okay.
So, in a personal tax return, what do we require as tax professionals to have in place in order to protect ourselves?
So for a personal tax return, when you're preparing a return, you need to. That's what we call the due. It's called the due diligence. It's due diligence. And as a professional, you have to make sure that if someone's qualifying for certain credits, earned income tax credit, child tax credit, American Opportunity Tax credit, and head of household, that you have did an interview with them, properly understand that they can take those particular credits and that they qualify for those credits. If they don't, you're supposed to say, well, unfortunately you can't take those credits. So with a personal return, that is the main thing I see mostly with personal returns is they need your driver license. They need that information regarding your leasing. They need the information regarding if you head of household or if you have your children. They need a social security card because they can be there can be what they call a due diligence audit. A due diligence audit is where the IRS comes in and they want to look at their returns that they prepare and they're your returns, and they have to have certain documents. They have to ask certain questions. So when they're asking you questions about everything, that they can ask you like, oh, why are you all in my business? Because I have to ask these questions. If they don't, they can get a penalty all the way up to having a criminal investigation, which also jail time. So that's why they ask all those questions when on a personal return.
So we do need to have a copy of children social security, people social security,
Yes.
right? We do have to have that. And what about actually some people they resist to have that. They will actually say, okay, we can give you a prior year tax return and that has the social security number for the kids and for everyone. Would that be considered yes?
No, that is not. No, you have to go. They have to get all your information just as if they were preparing your returns for the first time. Now, this
Mhm.
is what they could do. If let's say it's a prior client, they can, if they have the information with them already, they can get it, but they have to verify. You have to verify, is this you correctly? Is this social security information correct? Or you change your address with driver's license. They want to get all the information. They have to get all the information. If they don't, like I said, they will get a penalty. And that's the issue that we have a lot of because people are like, oh, well, you prepare my tax return for 20 years. Okay, well, I still got to verify all this information over again because things change. And the IRS will
Mhm.
ask them, did you verify this information? And they have to say yes, and they have to have it documented that they verified it.
Yep. Yeah,
Yep.
so actually, I always get a resistance from a lot of clients. No, I'm not comfortable to do. I actually reject service when they don't want to provide this information. So, what would you say to that? Like,
That's exactly what you're supposed to do. Per the
mhm,
IRS code, if the client will not give you the information or if they don't qualify, you can reject their service. And
mhm.
you're required to do that. So it's not like you're even though you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're required to reject their services. They don't give you the proper information to prepare their returns. And if
Mhm.
you don't reject their service, then you could end up losing your business because you did not, retain the information properly and have that information on you. So it's a lot. So when your preparer is telling you this, they're not saying it just to be in your business. They're saying it because they can lose their business, and you won't have a preparer next year because they'll be in jail or whatever. They can't prepare returns anymore, and you don't have anybody to do that because you have people who they don't care. They don't play like you. If you don't get your information to them, they will not take you as a client. Simple as
Mm-hmm.
that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now let's move to the business client. So when someone wants to come as a business, actually, I know I've seen a lot of people going to tax professionals who do not know how to prepare business tax returns, because I've seen it a lot. And I know like a lot of other tax professionals seen it a lot. Like when someone comes and they got advice, you don't have to prepare taxes because you didn't get any income. And this is a partnership actually. So, and sometimes they put it in the Schedule C when it's actually, it has to be on other forms.
Yeah.
And they actually resist also providing information. So what do we have to have as tax professional for a business return?
Well, you're supposed to have all the documents for that because you want to verify that if they are audited, that if you're audited, a tax professional is audited, or even if a taxpayer is audited, you have the proper documentation for 1120, 1120S, 1065, which is a partnership return, 1041, which is a state return. You have to have all that information. And let me tell you what I always hear from taxpayers. Well, I gave it to my preparer, or preparer didn't tell me I needed that. And they could be in trouble. It's the same thing. They could be in trouble for fraudulent returns because that's considered fraud. If you don't have documentation that you can show me that you did all this, you had these expenses, auto and truck expenses, you had legal expenses, you had contractors, 1099s, you have income. If you can't show the information, they can't prepare your returns properly, and then they will get in trouble for that. And then also, if you don't have the proper tax return done, let's say a 1065, which is a partnership return, or 1120S, you can get a penalty. And then the first person you're gonna blame is your tax professional who did not know you were supposed to file in 1120S because they didn't ask for that document saying you are now approved to be 1120S. Or if you have multiple people who are not husband and wife, and they know they're supposed to file 1065 and give a schedule K1, they will mess you up and you'll file your returns without that, and the IRS comes back and audit you. And now they can audit the whole return, not just a portion of the return.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So would you say, like, I always have it in my questionnaire actually to ask people for the article of incorporation of the business, just to and the a copy of the EIN to know what type of business they have. But what should we do as tax professional if someone actually they registered at whatever like form like LLC, C Corp, and then later on they elected to be an S Corp. So what are we supposed to do if they did not provide this information? So we had no idea, because a lot of clients don't even know what type of business they are. So what should we do as tax professional when this happens?
Well, to protect yourself, you need to, that's the reason why people always do questionnaires, or they always, ask for information from their tax professional, preparers. Because if I'm representing you and they're saying, okay, you didn't do this properly for a taxpayer, why? If I can show that you actually sent them the information saying, hey, are you an S corporation? Are you 1120S? Or asking probing questions about, do you have other partners in your business? Things like that. I can help you resolve the issue. But if you don't ask those questions, which a lot of people don't know to ask those questions, but they don't understand the 1120S, or if you see something that's different, for instance, if you see that person is filing a W-2 for themselves, they can't file on a Schedule C. So you should say, are you sure you're not an S Corp? So questions like that should be asked, but you have to know the law and know how to prepare a return for that in order to be able to do that. So those are the things that I think the best thing to do is an intake form. An intake form is the best thing a tax professional can ever have in their business, because that will help them out so much when it comes down to the IRS is, coming after you because they're saying you didn't prepare a return properly. Or even a client can come after you if you're not preparing a return properly and you gave them a penalty, but they didn't tell you that they were an S Corp or they were a partnership return.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. So people often they don't want to complete this organizer every year. They might complain. They might be okay first year because they think, okay, you're new, but then second year they start complaining. Do I have to fill in this every year? sometimes I seen some tax professional offer, okay, someone would call the client and fill in the organizer for them while they're on the phone. Would that be okay?
It's okay, but I don't think you should do that. I feel
Uh-huh.
like if you're preparing returns such as business returns, you need to have that person there, like even on the Zoom or something, but you need to have documents. You need to and they have to do a new organizer every year. Everything changes.
Uh-huh.
Because what you don't want to do is you don't want me to put that you had $500 in 2020 for advertising. You have $500 again for 2021, 2022. The IRS is going to look at that and say, wait a minute, this could be a fraudulent return. They're going to audit you. So I think that, don't be mad with your profession when they're doing their job. They're doing their job because honestly, with business owners, you should have a bookkeeper or someone
Mm-hmm.
who actually does it every month. And then what you're doing is you're providing the information to the tax professional to use it, your profit and loss statement. So that's the issue that I feel like a lot of people that I see, small businesses have, is that they don't have a bookkeeper every month
Mm-hmm.
to reconcile those books. And so they come with their professional, they give them, okay, well, I'm gonna give you this, but I don't know what you're gonna do with it. I don't really care. All those things. You cannot do that because actually when you sign your return saying that it's proper and it's correct, it's supposed to be proper and correct. That means you reviewed it, and you could be in trouble as well, and you can get a penalty as well. That's what happened with my client yesterday. Is she said she just gave it to her preparer, and he prepared it. He prepared it incorrectly, and she could get a penalty because of that.
Wow. So I know, you know what I think is the problem? Like I started explaining this to people and you tell me actually if I'm correct or not. Like tax industry is not regulated. So anyone can come and prepare taxes on behalf of the client. And because they have no knowledge, people get trained that, okay, why this person is doing it for me and you're not doing it for me.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the reason why it is. You can pretty much open up shop, get a P10 number, which is prepares tax identification number. You can get what they call electronic filing identification number. You can go to like TaxLayer, one of the service softwares, and get a software, and you can open up shop right then and there. Boom, you are now a tax professional. And because you don't have to, you're not regulated, you're not required to serve. They even circular 230, you are, but it's not like when it comes down to clients in a situation with preparing returns, you can pretty much open up shop and they can prepare your returns, don't know what they're doing, and then leave you in a bad situation. And that's the reason why if you have when you have a good preparer when they asking questions because they really want to know because honestly you may forget a particular credit you can take or a deduction you could take, and because they're looking at your information, they can give you additional deductions, which means you don't have to pay as much, or you have a refund or whatever. So be kind to your tax professionals because they take a lot of heat and they really, really are trying to do a lot of them really trying to do very well in this industry. And you have so much fraud. That's another thing. You have so much fraud in this industry. I see it so much with people doing fraudulent things, people putting fraudulent information on someone's tax return and just to get additional money back, and you have a bigger issue. And you actually, to be honest, taxpayers, you can go to jail too for a criminal investigation. You can go to jail for a criminal issue as well because if you knew that was fraud and you let them put it on there, then you could go to jail too. So what we're trying to do is keep everybody in compliance with the IRS and keep everyone out of jail.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Josie. This was like tons of knowledge, and I'm really happy to hear this from you to make people actually hear it from a lawyer, the professional itself. So, like, this is gonna make our job much easier when people listen to you. People listen to what Josie had to say. Listen over and over because a lot of gems over there. So, how can people get in touch with you?
You can reach me at my law firm. My number is 770-650-8737. Also, it's qpwblaw.com. That's where you can reach me. You can look at our website, see exactly what I talk about all the time on there. They have a couple of things on me about it, as well as Facebook. I'm Josie Harris Walton, or either Instagram, Josie Esquire. I also have a YouTube page, which is Tax Pros Concierge. Most of it is about tax professionals and things that they get into, but I think it's interesting for our taxpayers to hear it. So that's how I can be reached.
Thank you so much, Josie. It was
You're
a pleasure
welcome.
having you here today.
It was
Well,
great being here.
thank you. Guys, make sure you do what you have to do, whether if you are a tax professional or you are a taxpayer, whatever can happen to all of us. So make sure you be careful and you be careful who you hire so you don't need to go to court. If you have any question, if you need to connect with the show, Echoes of Impact, make sure you email me at hello@echoesofimpact.net. That was Noura Masri, and this is Echoes of Impact. Until next time, keep making an impact.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.